In the high-stakes world of the NFL, players can skyrocket to fame or vanish without a trace. Then there's Eddie Lacy, a powerhouse with talent, hype, and early success that suggested a legendary career.
What?
I see you snickering behind that screen. I'm being very serious.
Why so serious?
Yet despite glimpses of greatness, he went from the Green Bay Packers' rising star to a haunting reminder of talent left unfulfilled. How exactly did Eddie Lacy go from promise to puzzle? Let's dive into the story of his swift rise and surprising fall. Eddie Lacy was born on June 2nd, 1990 in Gretna, Louisiana, and by a young age showed an avid love for football. His childhood was a little bit rough when he turned 15, however, as this is when Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. When Lacy returned to Louisiana, he would attend Dutchtown High School, where he quickly made his name with his strong running style and agility. His success in high school earned him the attention of top college programs, eventually landing and committing to Alabama. And his career with the Crimson Tide was nothing short of spectacular, as his bruising, break tackling abilities helped the Crimson Tide to 3 national championships. When the Packers selected Lacy in the second round of the 2013 draft, it was just more of the same from the electric runner. During his rookie campaign, he would rush for over 1,100 yards and score 11 touchdowns. His immediate impact would actually earn him NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year and would also earn a Pro Bowl nod, validating that he was worth far more than his second round selection. It looked like Lacy would be a cornerstone for the Packers. By his second season, Eddie Lacy had firmly established himself as the Packers' go-to backfield force. He even outdid his stellar rookie year, rushing for 1,139 yards and scoring 9 times on the ground, while adding another 427 receiving yards for good measure. His unique blend of imposing size, deceptive speed, and unexpected agility made him a constant threat on the field. In doing so, he'd always have the defensive players in disarray over how to bring him down, since he could either bulldoze through tackles with raw power or even dodge defenders with surprising finesse, making him one of the most feared offensive weapons in the league. I know how it sounds now, but this was actually what it was for Eddie Lacy in 2014. Obviously, we know what may happen next, but this guy was that dude, even if it was for a short while. Unfortunately, when 2015 rolled around, a troubling trend began. Lacy's numbers drastically fell to 758 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. A different Lacy became apparent to football fans and analysts on the field. And before you knew it, one glaring problem was very prominent. Eddie Lacy, by this point, had gained significant weight. He would struggle with his conditioning going into his third season. The added weight siphoned the explosive power from his game. His burst off the line was neutered, and his lateral agility fell from grace. For any player, it's tough to sustain in an elite NFL body, so I do get that. But in Eddie Lacy's case, who already fell into the heavier side of what's common for a running back, it became an ugly cycle of fits and starts that would slowly drain the life out of him on the field, starting a never-ending debate from fans and analysts alike. Imagine the pressure that every pound gained or lost was now a headline. Eddie Lacy would gain 10 pounds, it'd be a headline. Eddie Lacy would drop a few pounds, that'd be a headline. Given that that was the case, people then forgot how good he was actually on the field prior to this, as his weight just took over his persona. The public scrutiny would not relent. The on-the-field production continued to plummet. In his one season in Seattle, he managed just 494 yards on 179 rushing attempts. The style of Lacy's play was the biggest asset and eventually his biggest liability. His bruising, aggressive running style brought about big plays, but also subjected him into intense physical wear. Over time, his body could not keep up with the demands, especially as his weight issues persisted. NFL running backs have notoriously short careers. The constant hits and physical punishment can break down even the toughest players. And for Lacy, whose body was already under strain due to his weight, it was just only a matter of time. To put a perspective on Lacy's career, it is critical first to understand the brutal reality of being an NFL running back. The average career in the NFL is about 3 years. However, for running backs, it is still even that much more shorter. The position is considered abusive, with the constant pounding into one's body. because of this. A running back rarely stays at his best skill level through more than just a couple of seasons, and that again is an understatement. Many players go from being stupendous to going down into oblivion because of an injury or loss of fitness. Very few people truly understand what an athlete goes through behind the scenes. The pressure of fame, the constant scrutiny of the media, and the always-on expectations can be overwhelming. For Lacy, the criticism, actually the nagging about weight and performance was not just frustrating, it was essentially degrading. There's a big difference between being critical of one's weight and just flat out degrading the man. You can't deny that you saw all those Eddie Lacy memes. Don't lie, I know you're lying. You've seen them. So athletes often face levels of pressure that most people cannot even dream about. The public never gets to see internal struggles, fighting off demotivation, keeping healthy, and maintaining the strenuous demands of the sport. And in Lacy's case, the insistent attention to his body and fitness level didn't only affect his game, it most likely started to tear down his confidence. To consistently be reminded of what you're not, rather than be celebrated for what you are, can start to wear on anyone's mind and emotions. In many ways, the pressure to be perfect can easily make a player's job a lot harder. The negative attention had been coming so strong and so relentless that it easily could have clouded his mind as Lacy's body was facing the rigors of his position. Running backs take hits, and over time, those hits do add up, physically and mentally. The body breaks down, and amid that, your mind starts to second guess. It's the cruel reality for any athlete, but for running backs specifically who rely on their body more than any other position to churn out elite level day in and day out seems all the more harsh. Lacy's situation was made all the more complicated because the public narrative flipped so quickly. From the time he burst onto the scene, it was as if fans in the world knew he was gonna be great, until he suddenly wasn't. The same fans who loved him so in those first few seasons were quick to tear him apart when things didn't go as they had planned. The onus of trying to live up to such an early legacy, coupled with the vociferous media coverage, must have been nothing short of devastating. And yet, despite all that, it's worth remembering that Eddie Lacy's story is not altogether one failure. In truth, this is actually just another casualty or result of the brutal reality many NFL running backs endure. The position itself is tailored for brief moments of brilliance rather than sustained success. Few players at the position can beat the odds and play at a high level for any considerable length of time. And while Lacy may not have been that exception, his first years in the league proved that he had the raw talent to be something special. Lacy's story is less about what he did or didn't accomplish on the field, and more about the grit it takes for one to continue going when the world seems to turn against them. It is about understanding that one does not usually go on a smooth ride as an NFL running back. The challenge for Lacy, however, was not only competing against other players, but also competing against pressure, injuries, and expectations from other people and himself. So just how bad was Eddie Lacy actually? Well, early in his career, he was a force to be reckoned with, possessing real skill and promise. His first 2 seasons were outstanding, and few running backs made such an immediate impact in the NFL. Still, his rapid decline makes him a pretty singular case, and his career is commonly viewed as a cautionary tale. Some look at him as a sad example of how things change on an instant in the NFL. Nonetheless, Eddie Lacy is remembered still, and his story belongs as a reminder of how some demands against professional athletes are just so extreme. The story of Eddie Lacy does not relate to a player who lived short of the hype. This is about how bodies and minds come apart in the ambitious quest for NFL stardom. It's about how one feels the constant pressure to perform well in a league where the average career lasts just a few years. Even though his journey ended a lot sooner than many expected, the early success and later struggles are just a telling of how unpredictable and absolutely unforgiving the world of professional sports really is. So to sum up Eddie Lacy's career, as we always do, we got to give our guys a grade between A and F. If I had to give the career of Eddie Lacy a grade, I would have to give him a D+. Nah, that's too harsh. I'll give him a C-. No, I'll give him a D. I'll give him a C-. Yeah, that's fine. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We're on the road to 3,000 subs. Thank you guys so much for your support, but until next time, Shibuya!